Hey everyone, welcome back to another hypercubing video. And yes, you read the title correctly. Throughout all of my journey creating various physical representations of four-dimensional twisty puzzles, I realized that there is a common puzzle available in most cubing stores that already represents a four-dimensional puzzle. And you may be thinking how that could be possible. I mean, maybe it has to be something with 8 sides because there's 8 facets on a hypercube as well. Or maybe you're thinking it has to be something with a very large number of pieces, and maybe some subset of all of these pieces represents the 40 cube. Or you may be thinking, oh, it has to be a weird geared puzzle because this would keep things aligned in the right way, like enforce correct moves. Or maybe you're even thinking that it has to be some wildly complex jumbling puzzle with maybe even multiple axis sets. And all these assumptions would be wrong. It turns out that the puzzle that I noticed that already represents a four-dimensional puzzle that you can just go out and buy is none other than the O2 cube. Well, actually, it needs a few more stickers. So there we go. Now we are all ready. And excuse my mediocre stickering job, but what puzzle could this possibly represent? As you may know, the O2 cube only really has turns of these kind of center circles where they just turn around. And so like it can only ever really get so scrambled. I mean, that's basically as scrambled as it can get, and there it's already solved. So what could this puzzle possibly be? Well, you may have recognized a pattern on this channel that I went from a physical 3x3x3x3 to 1x3x3x3 to 1x1x3x3. And in the comments of that video, there were already people suggesting, okay, what about 1x1x1x3? And this puzzle is not that. However, it's an equivalent of a 1x1x2. This is a physical 1x1x1x2. But why is that? If we look at a 1x1x2, the puzzle is just basically a square rotating relative to another square. And you may think, oh, well, these are cubes, but really they only have a rotational space of a square. And these work out to be the same puzzle as the AUF of a 2x2. So just turning the last layer of a 2x2 to line it up. And the same thing happens on the physical 2x2x2x2. At the very end of the solve, you do all your algorithms, you solve the last cell, and then you're left with some AUF, where you just have to take apart these cells and line them back up. And in the way that this had a rotational space of a square, this last cell has the rotational space of a cube. And so what you're doing is you're just rotating two cubes relative to each other. And then one on one end is a pink cube, and one on one end is a purple cube. Like how on this, there's a kind of a green square and then a blue square, and both of those can rotate relative to each other. And so in the same way we had these cubes rotating relative to each other, here we have a purple cube in the middle and a pink cube on the outside, and they can both rotate relative to each other. So this is our four-dimensional 1x1x1x2 represented physically in, I would say, a quite nice way, because it's fully mechanical. You can't do any illegal moves. Everything is forced. And it's a puzzle that you could just go out and buy. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you want to keep learning more about hypercubing, go ahead and subscribe, because I'm just going to keep making more and more videos explaining how hypercubing works, probably building more puzzles at some point, and trying to spread this interesting hobby of hypercubing. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.